casting with the Sanford and Son setup that I have. So, everyone, I appreciate you this year, and I appreciate you, and I appreciate the Breakfast of Champions. You know, the three things I've learned in this year is number one, that appreciation adds value to everything, not in a zero sum game, but appreciation adds on to. So when you appreciate or add value to something, it doesn't take away from something. There's no quid pro quo in giving and receiving and witnessing. It's simply just adding on to limitlessness and infinity. And the acknowledgement of this year, especially with the Breakfast of Champions, to acquire the knowledge of what we have by giving it away, by receiving it and witnessing it, by acknowledging it because we lose it. Maybe someone manipulated or stole it from us. Regardless, when we don't have it anymore, that's how we acquire the knowledge of what we've had in this expansive, accelerated universe that we're living in, that is not a zero-sum game of loss and win, not a comparison of judgment, not a thief of joy. And then finally, the most important thing as we get into this idea of the new year, and I'm going to talk about new day, but the new year is the most important lesson of asking. See, when you get comfortable that when you ask for more, you're just adding on to the universe, not taking away from someone or something or someone else. So I think it's a great shift here in the new year and the new day to be able to do that. I want to encourage everyone. I'm going to talk a little bit about the new day resolutions, and then we'll take some Q&A or takeaways. It doesn't matter. So, you know, whether you're one of the 55,000 people on the webinar who we've been doing these trainings for over 21 years, or here on Clubhouse, IG, TikTok, in the Sanford and Son simulcast, thank you so much. So load up the questions. And without your participation, I'll never learn what people want to know or need to know or are curious about or creative about. The first thing about this idea when we get to a new year is coherence. And coherence is something that I believe is a superpower. And I've created a 14-day gratitude challenge, which initially I had my own limitation to. And one of the things I've learned this year is that the only thing that dies in my life is limitations. And in the end, the only thing that's going to die is my limitation, my embodiment. So we want to, accelerate the death of limitations in our lives. We want to accelerate the death of all limitations. And coherence within the context of gratitude, for example, gratitude is the easiest way to change your life. It takes 0.1 seconds. If you say thank you before you go to bed and when you wake up, guaranteed all the greatest thought leaders in the world, the Glenn Lundys, the Amelia Antonettis, the Deepak Chopras, the Sadhgurus, the Jack Canfields, the Bob Proctors, the Sharon Lecters, the Mary Morrisseys, the Blaine Bartletts, the John Asseroffs, the Mark Victor Hansons, whatever it is that we've heard here on Breakfast of Champions, they all agree gratitude is the most powerful thing. Yet people lack so much coherence, and coherence is two things. One, remembering what to do, and two, actually doing it. So to remember what to do and actually doing it are two different things in coherence. And I've never seen a better example than gratitude, that people forget to say thank you, including me, still today. And they don't do it. They may remember and then they don't do it. So we want to work on whatever it is we want, our new day resolutions, our new year resolutions, coherence. We want to remember what we want to do and do it. It's that simple. And gratitude is a great way to start. That's why I created the 14-day gratitude challenge, not only to change your life through gratitude, but to teach coherence, the ability to remember what we want and to do it. And that's going to be a necessity to understand the difference between a new year resolution and a new day resolution. And I challenge everyone as well, not only to say thank you, but to create new day resolutions. What happens, why new year resolutions don't work, is because they work in the speed of thought. It's a great idea, but they don't work in the speed of light. And that's because when we're in the linear perspective of time and quantities, I'm going to work out every day. My New Year's resolution is to lose weight. My New Year's resolution is to make more, whatever it may be. The minute you put a time limitation and attach your outcome to that time limitation, you create resistance with every second that passes. You create resistance with every single second that passes. So, I have a TV show called 2 Minute Drill. I have another TV show called Elevator Pitch. One has 60 seconds in the elevator to pitch. The other has 2 minutes to pitch. And we purposely put the clock up there because as each second ticks by, there's more and more pressure, more and more resistance. And so I want people to kill off, to allow the death of the limitations. And one of the limitations I want you to die with is that limitation of time. There is no limitation of time. It's infinity. We want to do things as fast as we can, as accurately as we can. We want to do it as efficiently, as effectively, as statistically successfully as we can. And the minute we put this linear time frame of a new year resolution, man, it becomes impossible, not only because of the size, scope, and scale of an entire year, but also because we create this resistance because we have a linear time frame. Just like at the end of the football game, to score a touchdown or kick a field goal, it gets high pressure, high resistance. And what I want you to do is to start to utilize coherence, the ability to remember what you want and to do what you want every single day. Make subtle changes. Don't be afraid of being a fast learner, which means you make more mistakes, more setbacks, more failures. Once again, all contingent upon, to utilize this idea, you have to believe there's something bigger than you. You have to believe there's something bigger than you, an omniscient, all-powerful, all-knowing source that loves you more than your mommy loves you, more than you love your own children. You have to believe that. And if you do, we then can take these new day resolutions with effortlessness in a world of infinity, of more than enough of everything for everyone, and start adding on to the world, not taking away, not utilizing quid pro quo, where the more I give, the more I receive. I got to give to receive. No, it's not a negotiation. It's not a trade. When we detach our emotions from an outcome related to time or quantity, we then free ourselves to live outside of the zero-sum game, and we add on to not only our lives, but to everyone's lives in that instant of what? Limitlessness and infinity. And you can do this in this abundant world throughout every single day. Now, how do we reconcile the new year or midterm or intermediate type of objectives and long-term objectives if all we're worried about is today? Well, first of all, worry is a wasted emotion. So all we're focused in on, our attention plus intention for the coincidences we want. How do we do this? How do we reconcile the intermediate and long-term objectives if we're only focused in on today? It's quite easy. We utilize these 5 different steps that we have, these 5 daily practices that we have in the context of coherence, remembering what we want and actually doing them every single day, being fast learners of absorbing the lessons from the mistakes, failures, setbacks, and pain that occurs in our lives that are the indicators that we have a better place, a better position to be in, noting that the only way we know that pain, setbacks, failures, and mistakes are promoting us and protecting us is if we believe in the omniscient, all-powerful, all-knowing source, and that we believe it loves us more than our mommy loves us or we love our own children. So if you see how all of this is reconciled together. So when I started my new day resolution today, I took into consideration what I want next year for the entire year. I took into consideration what I want when my son graduates high school 6.5 years from now. I took into consideration my longest term objective, which is to live to over 111. I used to think I wanted to live to 111. I was born on January 11th at 111. My name means beloved servant. And I knew, and I used to tell everyone for years, I'm going to die on January 11th at 111 at 111 years old, until one of my dear friends, Diane Cannon, who's an amazing soul, at 84, she told me this. She looked at me and was depressed when I told her. And she said, what are you, why are you so sad? I'm gonna live a long life. She said, no, why are you limiting yourself? What if we have the technology by the time you're 100 to live to 1,000 years old? And for 50 years, you've been manifesting dying at 111 at 111 on January 11th. What are you doing? You've wasted 889 years of this journey. So we do this all the time. We don't think big enough. We don't ask big enough because we don't think big enough, and we create limitations. One of those is created every single year with the majority of people on earth, called New Year resolutions. New Year resolutions are a construct of how and what we do today. So every single day, I want you to think, I'm blessed. Every single day, I want to appreciate, acknowledge, and ask for more, utilizing new day resolutions, taking into account my New Year resolutions, my intermediate objectives, and my long-term objectives. And the first step of doing that is just simply asking what I want today, not being afraid of learning, being a fast learner, not being afraid to ask for help. What do I want today? Well, personally, I want today to be healthy, happy, wealthy, and worthy. I want to figure out what I'm doing to interfere with that. I don't want to go get it. I don't want to attach my emotions to some outcome that creates more resistance in what I want. Instead, I want to live in the flow, in abundance, adding on and accelerating along with synergistic supplementary to the universe, the way it's expanding, growing, and accelerating. I don't want to take away. I just want to give, receive, and witness. You know, God or source, whatever you believe in, has a system of rewarding us when we're doing the right things, right? This is why I talk about kindness and being kind to your future self and doing good deeds. But giving, as we saw during Christmas, right? Giving is an exact example of how the biochemical reaction, the reward system of the universe, helps us understand when we are doing the right things, when we are aligned with or in the flow of the universe. When we decide what we want is aligned with, synergistic, and supplementary to the flow, to what is best for the expansion and acceleration of the universe, we receive a dose. We receive a dose. So when we give, we receive a dose. When we receive, we get a dose. When we witness giving and receiving, when we're kind, we get a dose. What is that dose? It's dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins, right? This is what makes us happy. This is my mission in life, is to empower others to receive doses so that they are encouraged to do the best and most suitable thing in the pursuit of their potential. Not what other people want, what's missing, or what they don't want, but their own potential. And in order to reach your own potential or have that happiness of the pursuit of your potential, you have to know what you want. You have to take into consideration every single day what you want. You have to then put it into the terms of your New Year resolutions, your intermediate objectives, and your long-term objectives, so that you can decide what you want today. And after you know what you want, then what's the fastest way to get it? Find someone that has it or has knowledge of how to get it, right? The easiest way to get what you want is what? To ask somebody that sits in the situation you want to be in for directions, or help someone else get it, like Zig Ziglar says. So not only do we need to know what we want, we didn't need to know who we can help get what they want and who can help us get what we want. And that's why I created this open-ended question template for people where they can identify whether someone has a closed mind or an open mind, because we know it takes 1,000 times the energy to shift the paradigm or re-engineer a vision of a closed mind. So we want to let those people fall away or fire the bleeders from our life. And we want to focus in on the open minds who have open hearts and open hands, that surround themselves with more people with open hearts and open hands and open minds. And so once we determine if someone has an open mind using open-ended questions, we then can determine two things about the person in the aspect of who. We can find out either how we, with what we want, who we can help or who can help us. And so by asking, would it help you if, a very simple question, would it help you if, by asking them, what do you do today? What do you like about it? What don't you like about it? Oh, you don't like that about it? Would it help you if blank? We are just building our own collective consciousness of open-minded, open-hearted, and open-handed people. And more importantly as well, we can ask, do you know anyone that could help me? Which then distinguishes whether someone is a sponsor, meaning they know someone that could help us, or a power sponsor, meaning they're the decision maker, they can help us, or they know someone that can help us. Utilizing the who by understanding and asking questions of people, being more interested than interesting, by asking those open-ended questions to figure out what people like and don't like, where they need help or don't need help, where they can help you or where they can't help you, understanding that only open-minded people are available for this type of flow. We can then determine in a new day resolution based off of our New Year resolution, our intermediate and long-term objectives, not only what we want, but who best suited can give us directions how to get it, who has already paid the dummy tax so that we don't have to pay it. We use these new day resolutions in order to expand, grow, and accelerate in conjunction aligned with the universe and how it does, not living in a zero-sum game, but in this world of infinity of more than enough, this expansive world. And after we know what we want and who we can help and who can help us, by the way, my daily prayer when I wake up is, may God put at least 10 people in front of me I can help, and may God put at least 10 people in front of me that can help me, which was in addition when I started to shift the paradigm of who I am and what I want and who can help me and who I can help. And who I am is healthy, happy, wealthy, and worthy. My paradigm shift is utilizing the new day resolutions in order to figure out what I'm doing to interfere with that, not going to get this new year happy. I'm not going to get healthy this new year. I'm not going to get wealthy this new year. I'm not going to get worthy. I already am, because I know there's an omniscient, all-powerful, all-knowing source that loves me more than my mommy loves me or more than I love my children. I know I just have to figure out what I'm doing to interfere with it. So how am I going to get it done is the third question. Right? As I work through my new day resolutions every single day with less resistance and less effort, by utilizing my free will to clarify and identify the interference that I'm creating between me and the omniscient, all-powerful, and all-knowing infinity and abundance that exists, the more than enough of everything for everyone. When I constantly practice this in order to effectuate it, I want to figure out how best to do this. And the best way that I know is to utilize time with a lens of productivity, meaning to provide as much value as I can, a lens of accessibility, how accessible or connected am I to everything and everyone, and accessibility in the respect that I'm going to receive what I want and ask for more, not limit myself. Death to limitation. The only thing that's going to die, as I suggest in your life, is limitations. That's the only thing that's going to die. All your limitations, including someday your embodiment, all your limitations will die. But you need to know how to reconcile productivity, accessibility, and gratitude with coherence, remembering and doing and saying thank you to find the light, the love, and the lessons in everything that you do with the lenses of productivity, accessibility, and gratitude, reconciling those lenses, that kaleidoscope of happiness, into time, because time is how we get things done by the day. And it's so much easier to wake up in the morning and say, this is what I'm going to do today, with so much less resistance and so much less effort than this is what I'm going to do this year. And how I'm going to get it done is to realize that I am given a gift in the linear man-made construct of time of activity. I am given a gift of activity, 24 hours of activity based on the speed of light. And how am I going to use that in this kaleidoscope of happiness, productivity, accessibility, and gratitude to get the most out of my day, to get further than I could ever believe with my New Year's resolution, my intermediate and long-term objectives, which may or may not change every day, which is fine because I'm here to learn lessons, and the lessons are going to keep on coming until I learn them. They're going to be indicated by the great source with pain, setbacks, failures to promote me and protect me, not to punish me. Just as if a child reaches out to touch a stove, its parent slaps its hand and screams at them, no, the child immediately cries, why me? Why are you punishing me? And then the mom hugs you and says, no, I'm promoting and protecting you. That's exactly what's occurring with your reconciliation of the kaleidoscope of time, kaleidoscope of happiness in the reconciliation of the linear time. Not attaching your emotions to a quantity, a linear aspect that creates more resistance as the clock ticks in elevator pitch or 2-minute drill or the 2-minute warning in a football game. It doesn't matter. Resistance is created in the linear aspect the minute you attach yourself to the clock. Stop it. Same with amounts. Live in infinity and limitlessness. Know how to get things done. Be a student in your calendar. Have an unwinding routine at night. Utilize not only the activity you get paid for, but the activity you don't get paid for and your sleep. Know that 2 minutes a day equals more than 2 hours on a Saturday. Utilizing Einstein's rule of 72, compound interest, acceleration. We've talked about all these things all year. Use the kaleidoscope of happiness and the reconciliation of time in order to effectuate the new day resolution, step by step, every day, aggregating good habits with coherence, remembering what you want, who can help you, who you can help, and how to get it done, and doing it. Now, a lot of people today, as we have these new day resolutions, they're feeling overwhelmed. And what are the people doing with this feeling of overwhelmed? Well, a third of the people are victims. They're being punished when they feel overwhelmed. A third of the people just try to stay afloat. They're just stable when they feel overwhelmed. And then a third of the people are living in abundance. They're grateful, utilizing the kaleidoscope of happiness to say to themselves, I'm so blessed to have too many opportunities and options in my life and not enough time. Therefore, the fourth step of a new day resolution is to prioritize. Prioritization is the antidote to procrastination. It is the antidote to allowing this feeling of overwhelmness. Prioritization based off of what's important to you, using urgency as a subset, applying urgency to the what, the who, and the how. We make the most important things and the most urgent things in our life to prioritize, whether they were planned, unplanned. It doesn't matter. There could be activity that's planned, activity that's not planned, activity you get paid for, activity you don't get paid for. It doesn't matter. 7 days a week, utilizing the power of 64 to be productive, accessible, efficient, statistically successful, all in one. We utilize that in order to effectuate the what, the who, and the how in the most efficient, effective, and statistically successful way by prioritizing. If you know your what, your who, and your how, you will prioritize by doing it now. This is where coherence comes to life. In the fourth step is the step of coherence, doing it now. Remembering 100% of the things you do now get done, regardless of whether 99% of all statistics are made up or not, which is my favorite statistic. 100% of the things you do now get done. And they only get done if you know how to utilize prioritization and coherence, remembering what you want, who you can help you, and how to get it done, and then doing it in step 4. This is the practice of the new day resolution, taking into account your new year resolutions, your intermediate objectives, and your long-term objectives in life every single day, making subtle changes. So you, like a big race car, like a drag car that's just going 250 miles an hour, almost 300 miles an hour, don't have to, at the end of the year, course correct and wonder why your whole life is flipping over and over and over, and you end up upside down. Because you do utilize new day resolutions to subtly move 0.5%, 0.5%, a whole percent, whichever way it is, using pain as an indicator in order to effectuate acceleration and growth of your drag car, not crashing because you make dramatic changes. Subtle changes are what are utilized in new day resolutions by the what, the who, the how, and the now. And then finally, last but not least, in order to have the new day resolutions, we have to have faith. We have to have faith that we are happy, healthy, wealthy, and worthy. And we have to figure out what we're doing to interfere with our what, our who, our how, and our now every single day. In other words, we need to apply our why. We need to apply our why by utilizing our gratitude challenge. We have to utilize the ability to, one, identify what's interfering with our happy, healthy, wealthy, and worthy journey, and allow the limitations through this interference to die. Let's kill them off. Kill off those limitations by identifying, do I have a need to be right? Do I have a need to be offended? Do I have a need to be superior, inferior? Do I have a need to be separate because of my religion, race, politics, skin color, height, sexual preference? Am I separating myself? Or am I appreciating not only the humanity of who I am, but appreciating the differences? Am I and can I identify the need to be anxious, worried, upset the judgments and conditions alone, labeling everything separates us. Look, labels are for shampoo, everyone. Labels are for shampoo. Judgments, conditions, and worrying is a duplicity of interference in your life. Not only does it create interference between you, your happiest, healthiest, wealthiest pursuit of your potential, but it actually manifests what you don't want. It's the process, judgments, conditions, and worrying of attaching your emotions to an outcome that's missing or that you don't want or what other people want for you. Stop it. Just learn to identify these interferences of the needs to be right, offended, separate, inferior, superior, anxious, frustrated, guilty, resentful. These are some of the feelings I'm sure you experienced during the holidays, especially if you're around your family, because we carry so much baggage, so many snapshots of the past that we haven't forgiven. But utilize this fifth step of the New Day resolution in order to effectuate clearing and understanding and identifying the interference between you and what you already are, your potential, your higher self. Allow the light, the love, and the lessons to come through you. Allow you to identify the light, the love, and the lessons so you can appreciate what you had, add value to it, acknowledge it, allow it, give it away, get it stolen, manipulated from you, lose it from your life, die off those limitations, and then what? Ask for more into the bigger vessel that just adds on to the universe, not a zero-sum game of comparison. Once you identify this interference, now don't resist it. Don't fight it. Don't go over it, under it, through it, around it. Don't create more resistance. Instead, just stop. Breathe through the nose, out through the mouth. Breathe to your center, your higher self. And then remind yourself through coherence, the what, the who, the how, the now, and apply your why. Utilize New Day resolutions, taking into consideration your New Year resolutions, your intermediate objectives, and your long-term objectives. Understand the speed of thought and the speed of light, and detach your emotions, your energy emotions, from those outcomes based off of the speed of light, time, and quantity. Utilize the open-ended question to figure out if you're with open mind, open hearts, and open hands, and determine if they're sponsors and power sponsors that you can utilize in the who. Join the 14-day gratitude challenge. Learn coherence this year. Remember what you want and do it day by day, and work with and align, command the universe synergistically and supplementary to what it's already doing, expanding, growing, and accelerating in a world of limitlessness and abundance, a world of more than enough. And if you utilize coherence and the New Day resolutions based off of the New Year and intermediate and long-term objectives, I promise you, you will make a lot of money, help a lot of people, and have a lot of fun. Come join me on that bus with Amelia. Utilize these New Day resolutions. Feel free to reach out to me. Happy to give you all of the different things that I talked about. Happy to give them to you for free. These guides will help you. Join my 14-day gratitude challenge. I would love it. We're going to change lives together, create a collective consciousness of happiness. Jake, why don't you reset the room and let's take some questions.
That was super powerful. I see Glenn wants to chime in too. Thank you, Glenn. All right. Dave, yes, resetting the room. We're here at the Breakfast with Champions, the New Year's Eve special. Dave, of course, just spoke about New Day resolutions and, of course, many other things. If you like any of those worksheets that Dave mentioned, please feel free to email him, david@dmeltzer.com, david@dmeltzer.com. We'll take some questions here on Clubhouse. Dave will take some questions on his Zoom training that he's been doing for over 21 years. So, Dave, why don't we start with the question on Clubhouse? Does that sound good?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Awesome. Dora Maria, if you can please unmute yourself. Welcome to the Clubhouse.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jake. So, David, you talked about detaching emotion. What is a good reset for that? Because I think around the holidays and being around family, you get tempted to go right back into it. What's one way to disrupt that from your perspective?
Yeah. So just think of a stop sign. Anytime that your emotions, the energy, you don't feel good, you feel, anxious, frustrated, angry, guilty, resentful. Some of these feelings we always get around certain people, certain ideas, certain, situations. And so we want to start identifying, where we're being bled or where we start feeling that interference. The real practice isn't just stopping, right? Stopping is the reset. Do not try to fight it, resist it, overcome it, or worse, accelerate in the wrong direction, which most people do, including me. But instead, the better we get at stopping and breathing and reminding through coherence what we want, who we can help, who can help us, how to get it done, and of course, doing it, we then can apply our why. And one of the best mechanisms of stopping is forgiving ourselves for interfering with what we already are: happy, healthy, wealthy, and worthy. Forgive yourself, knowing that everyone has their own perception, and forgiving them is much easier when you have forgiven yourself. Others are mirrors of ourselves. We don't like in others what we don't like in ourselves, and we carry baggage and trauma and resistance and separation with others, especially our family members, during the holidays. So I just remind myself that whenever I feel interference, whenever I fear my emotions are attached to something I don't want it attached to that bleeds me, stop. Just stop and breathe. That's the first step. Just stop. And then you can start learning through coherence these patterns of energetic and genetic inheritance, which is why when we accumulate a collective consciousness called a family that all has the same genetic and energetic inheritance of resistance or interference, this is why we create these different problems. One of the interesting things of one of my coaching clients, they had never had a family function without drama, without trauma. And this was the first year they were able to do that. And they said it was so amazing. This is the first time ever that there was no fighting, no whatever. And I said to the person, I said, here's what's funny is every single year somebody left your family function saying that, but you had a different perception. And I promise you that people have left this year's holiday party from you and your family saying that was awful. There was so much drama and trauma. We are in control of our mindset, our heart set, and our handset. And the best way to reset it is to stop. Does that sound fair?
That sounds awesome. Thank you so much, Dave.
Thank you. All right, Jake, I'm going to take a question online and go ahead. Who's up next for Clubhouse?
Next up will be Raymond Ray, when you're ready.
All right, perfect. Let me take the question online. For the times you're feeling down and you need a jolt of inspiration, what do? That's where motivation comes in, right? Motivation is a soul sucker in the respect that fear, the false evidence appearing real, can motivate us. So I use motivation, not inspiration, motivation as a jolt of inspiration. Motivation is a jolt of inspiration in the respect that it gets me up, get me back up, get me started, get me back started. Then I use the what, the who, the how, and the now in order to apply my why. But sometimes, whether it's biochemically, whether it's physically, whether it's emotionally, spiritually, or whether it's just a matter of lessons, I need to get back up. Right? As much as I love being promoted and protected by pain, failure, setbacks, and mistakes, they kick my ass sometimes and I got to get up. I'm not feeling it. So I distinguish the short-term inspiration called motivation. Sometimes I use fear. I try not to in order to effectuate, setting the bar lower, making sure I put myself into movement, into the emotion that I want, utilizing the stop, drop, and roll mechanism or the power of 64 in order to effectuate the kaleidoscope of happiness, productivity, accessibility, and gratitude. But I got to sometimes when I'm feeling down, I need a jolt of inspiration, utilizing motivation to get up, get back up, get started, and get back started, transitioning that into the what, the who, the how, the now, applying my why, and once again, opening up that inspiration, reminding myself, remembering and recollecting, I am happy, I am healthy, I am wealthy, I am worthy. Shit, I'm doing something to interfere with it. Let me be motivated in order to get myself rolling in the right trajectory or direction. All right, Jake, let's bring up Raymond.
Raymond, welcome to the Clubhouse. If you can please unmute yourself.
Hey, thanks so much, David. As always, thanks for the value you provide. Jake, thanks for being a great facilitator. Good to have you here again, David. Question for you, David. Can you talk a little bit about when you evaluate joint ventures, deals, partnerships, things like that? The difference, not where David's putting his money into something that's all his risk, all he's doing, but a third party said, hey, let's do this together. And possibly there's money to lose or money to gain involved. Can you peel behind that a bit? If that,
Oh,
if that question is fair, please.
Thank you. That, I'm so glad that we can take this down into a more pragmatic effectuation instead of the theoretical. So, there's a couple processes involved. One, when I'm getting into a joint venture, partnership, et cetera, I utilize a trust and vet mechanism. Number one, to see where I'm aligned with, synergistic or supplementary to the people or parties that I'm working with. Trusting and vetting are in symbiosis together, meaning they're the same. When I trust you enough from the representations that you've made in order to, for example, articulate a quantitative value to exceed what I'm asking for, the first step is to trust and vet. I trust what you say by vetting the crap out of you. See, I trust you if you make representations to me that we're comfortable that you're being truthful enough that I can ask the hard questions. I lost millions and millions of dollars in my life because I knew people were lying to me, or other people had warned me that they're lying, or it was too good to be true. And I was too afraid to offend them by asking them the hard questions about numbers, times, emotions, or whatever else, or just even the question, why are you doing this? And when we trust and vet, we then can go to the second step in these joint ventures to find the synergy, to find the supplementary help that we can give through partnerships, joint ventures, et cetera, investments. And the key is, after we trust and vet, then we have to align our timing and risk tolerance to the joint venture, partnership, or investment opportunity. You see, no matter if we make money or lose money, or have success or not, we have to know what our expectations are. And those expectations in these type of relationships are called timing and risk tolerance. So, for example, if my joint venture with the state of California is to buy a lottery ticket, and I know there's 1,000,000,000 to 1 chance I can win, and my $2 investment adheres to or aligns with or synergistic to the 1,000,000,000 to 1 chance, and I lose because I fall into that respect of timing and risk tolerance, I'm happy. I got what I paid for. But so many times people don't trust and vet. People do not utilize their own timing and risk tolerance to see how it's aligned with, synergistic or supplementary to the joint venture, partnership, or investment. And then they feel like they lost. Believe it or not, if you don't take your timing and risk tolerance, you won't even understand when you don't lose. You won't understand to the varying degree whether or not it has met what your timing and risk tolerance was. We have no disappointment if we trust and vet and know our timing and risk tolerance in joint ventures. I also create these in a variety of different ways. That's why I have an overlap agreement. The greatest change in my life is this overlap agreement, because for years and years and years, being of service and value, being of value and always wanting to help people, being a pleaser, being too afraid to receive, not realizing that I was diminishing and dissolving and dissipating my own vessel by not asking for more, because I would appreciate everything I have, add value to it, which expands me. I'd acknowledge it by giving it away, by selling it, by losing it, by being manipulated out of it, by it being stolen from me. But then I would forget to ask for more when I have this beautiful, big new vessel that has added on or accelerated the universe. And so I utilize the trust and vet, the timing and risk tolerance, in order to fill my vessel more by asking for more, by utilizing this overlap agreement. And in the last few years, created 7 figures of income simply by having a memorialization, a digital searchable document of all the different people that I can help and can help me. Utilizing the New Day resolution, I now can codify and memorialize these joint ventures, these partnerships, these investments that I make. And it's not a matter of trust. It's a matter of memorialization, of reminding, that, hey, refer this dentist because he's going to give you $100 credit. Hey, refer this painter because they're going to give you 20% commission back, or vice versa. Let people know you are one of the world's greatest speakers. You want to empower over 1 billion people to be happy. You'll give them 20% of your 6-figure speaking engagement fee, whatever it may be. Overlap agreements have changed my life. And I've templated the open-ended questions of who can help me and who I can help, power sponsors, open mind, closed minds, all these different things to effectuate these partnerships, joint ventures, et cetera, that we just need to trust and vet and know our timing and risk tolerance in order to what? Create abundance, more than enough of everyone, utilizing the what, the who, the how, the now to prioritize those and utilize them to apply our why. Hopefully that helps, Raymond, and feel free, reach out to me to get that overlap agreement. It's a godsend. I'll send it to anyone. David@dmeltzer.com. My contacts are in the bio, but please reach out because I promise you it'll make a huge difference in 2022. Awesome. All right, Jake, I'm going to take another question online, and then who's up next on Clubhouse?
When you're ready, Dave, we've got Michelle GI who's ready to ask a question on Clubhouse.
Love it. All righty. Next question online. How do you avoid over-promising? Well, first of all, recognizing our energetic and genetic inheritance is so important in over-promising. Some of us quantumly are natural over-promisers. Over-promisers, oversellers, over-deliverers. I mean, manipulators, liars, and even cheaters sometimes for good intention. That's what over-promising is. And, understanding these new day resolutions allows us to stay aligned with the activity we get paid for, activity we don't get paid for in our sleep. It stays and aligns the utilization of our activities. And usually when we are over-promising, one, it's an aspect of energetic and genetic inheritance. Two, to please others, right? It's a good intention, which makes it a duplicative negativity that we have good intentions and we end up hurting people by over-promising and under-delivering. And so I actually have created a codification, a go, no-go plan that manages not just the people that I'm working with expectations, but my own. And it could be just a simple email that say, hey, our next steps are this on this date, et cetera. I will give you a call to do this, or here is the memorialization in the overlap agreement in a go, no go plan that I'm going to do this. We'll both decide whether we should move forward to the second step, the third step, all the way up to big enterprise scopings, which I used to charge $50,000 to $100,000 to scope huge enterprise solutions for. I would have a very detailed go, no go plan, but I use it in the simple ways with my family, friends, associates to create a go, no go plan to create alignment, agreement, commanding each other, working with each other, and staying aligned. The AAA philosophy in life is utilized by this go, no go plan in that we, number one, need to spend 80% of our time in alignment. Only 20% in action that's based off of the preparation of adjustment. That's why the new day resolution is a formulation of the AAA strategy of alignment, action, and adjustment. 80% of our time should be spent evaluating what feeds us, what's aligned with us, trusting and vetting and knowing our timing and risk tolerance and figuring that out. Then we can take action through motivation or temporary inspiration and inspiration itself. And then through new day resolutions, learning lessons, knowing something greater than us loves us more than our mommy, or we love our own children, to be promoted and protected to a better place, a better situation. Over-promising is an aspect of not creating a go, no-go plan or implementing the AAA strategy. So avoid over-promising by having these methodologies of new day resolutions, AAA strategy, and a go, no-go plan in order to effectuate alignment with people to manage and develop the expectations, which is 80% of your time. Remember, most people spend 80% of their time in the wrong place, in things that bleed them. It's a natural course of human nature to feed that which bleeds us. I want you to shift the paradigm in 2022 and for the rest of your existence by dying off the limitations and stop feeding that which bleeds you and feed that which feeds you, utilizing the go, no go plan, the AAA strategy, et cetera, the 5 practices of the new day resolution. And you will avoid over-promising, identifying the energetic and genetic inheritance of overselling, over-promising, et cetera. All right, Jake, let's bring up our next person online.
Let's bring up Michelle. Michelle, welcome to the Clubhouse. If you can please unmute yourself.
Yes. Hey, Jake. Hey, Dave. Such power. Oh my God, this is a master class. So honored. As someone who's seeking to transition from my government job, serving women, veteran entrepreneurs, and helping them, find opportunities in the federal contracting space, what advice and things would you recommend to someone in transition?
Yes. First of all, everyone's in transition. Some transitions seem to be bigger than others. And not only utilizing the new day resolutions, the 5 daily practices of every day in the context of this transition, knowing the what, the who you who can help you, how, and knowing and prioritizing what's important in versus urgent or urgency of what you're doing and applying your why. One of the keys is counterintuitive, and that's to lean into what you do today. See, the keys to transition is having more time and more opportunity and more resources. And the only way that we can do that is to actually lean into what we're doing today to do it more efficiently, effectively with statistical success. So we have more time, opportunity, and options. The last thing that we want to do is to share our focus, our attention, and intention on both things at one time, because what happens is we end up dissipating our main source or our main resource. And then when we make a transition, we don't have enough resources in order to effectuate a successful transition. So I have people lean into what they do have control of, which is one, the mindset, two, the heart set of how you feel about it, and three, the handset of leaning back in to get better at what you're currently doing to provide yourself with the objective of having more time, more opportunity, and more resources by leaning into what you're doing. You will find those resources within the context of the collective consciousness that you're in, the activities that you get paid for, activities you don't get paid for, and of course, even your sleep, which is the aspect of unwinding to recover the body, mind, and soul and access more information to give yourself more time, more opportunity, and more options. Most people end up dissipating and dissolving their transition because they are sharing time and space instead of allowing themselves to create the time and space necessary for the transition. So lean into the resources that you already have, including what you're already doing, by the objective of creating time, options, and opportunities and resources to facilitate a transition that is capitalized correctly, that is utilized correctly, and energetically is a growth acceleration instead of an interference. Does that sound fair?
Yes, I'm sorry, I couldn't unmute. Amazing, absolutely amazing. I would like to ask if you could talk more about utilizing the time that you have. You're saying separate the two, but yet they're one.
Yeah. So yeah, utilizing the time that we have. So I am a student of my calendar. I use straight Outlook for most of the things that I do, from repositing lessons and stories to effectuating the activities I get paid for, activities I don't get paid for, and my sleep, activities I have planned and I don't have planned. And when I talk about being a student, it is the mathematical equation of luck. It is the law of assumption that says what I pay attention to, what I focus in on through the what, the who, the how, the now, plus what I give intention to. And when I give intention to, it means I'm going to think, say, do, believe, and feel. I'm going to add feel for everyone. You want to feel what it's going to be like, because that's how the subconscious communicates to the energetic and genetic inheritance called your unconscious competency, your unconscious being, your DNA, this quantum being that you are. We need to feel it as well. So if you pay attention to what you want in this transition, not what other people want, what's missing, or what you don't want, and you think, say, do, and believe and feel it, by utilizing this idea, the coincidences, the coinciding of what already exists will occur. There's coincidences happening all around us. The more you raise and elevate your awareness by utilizing these methodologies, the more coincidences you'll become aware of, but they're happening all around us. You're just not aware of them right now. And so I use time in the aspect of this lens or kaleidoscope of happiness to be more productive. So I want to be more efficient, effective, and statistically successful. I created this thing called the Power of 64 in conjunction with the student of the calendar, where I am very pragmatic or coherent in being twice as productive. So if on average people are 8 hours productive a day, 5 days a week, I'm 16 hours productive a day, 7 days a week. Then I focus in on through this formula to be more efficient by finding 4 minutes a day, by creating, 2 weeks vacation for myself every year, by putting my phone, my keys, and my wallet in the same place, because 80 hours a year is spent looking for shit. And I know that I now can have those hours of efficiency in my life. And then statistical success by utilizing the New Day resolution and the 5 daily practices within the New Day resolution, taking into consideration my New Year's resolutions, my intermediate and long-term objectives, which change as I grow and learn. All of this is an aspect of reconciling the speed of thought, all of these great attention and intention, with what? The speed of light, the time it takes from a particle of light to get from the sun to the earth, which creates our 24-hour calendar, our 24-hour clock, the man-made construct of time, which is the gift that we've been given for activity we get paid for, activity we don't get paid for, and our sleep, which is only for recovery and access, allowing us to plateau and grow, not to live this next year like a tube, food in, food out, wondering why we end up in the same place, why we end up with what's missing, what we don't want, or what other people want for us. So utilize the reconciliation of the speed of thought and the speed of time. Use and be a student of your calendar, not only paying attention to, but giving intention to what you think, say, do, believe, and especially feel what it's going to be like. And the coincidences you want will occur, or coincidences that are better than you want it will occur, knowing that you are protected and promoted by a great source, an omniscient power that loves you more than your mom loves you or you love your own children. Feel free to reach out to me. I'd love to work with you on this. This is a life and game changer for everyone. Hopefully you caught it. I know I talk fast. I know this is recorded. I have other videos on it too that you can watch and document. So please reach out if you want to learn more.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right. I'm going to take another question online and then maybe one more person on Clubhouse. Okay, Jake?
Sounds great. Thanks, Dave.
All right. Perfect. I'm going to do a quick one. It's a fun one. Do you have any weird, quote unquote, rituals that you do? Tons, right? Because I don't give a shit what other people think is weird. I am weird. I'm on a spectrum that 10% of the people, no matter what I sound like or say, because I do sound like my boy Glenn, they're going to love me. They're going to love the way I sound. I can say the word "the" and they'll be like, oh my God, Dave Meltzer changed my life. Right. And then 10% of the people are going to hate me. They're going to say, oh my God, that's the worst thing I've ever heard. That's the worst "the" ever. This guy is full of shit. He's a manipulator, overseller, back-end seller. I'm not on their frequency. And then 80% in varying degrees are going to think I'm weird. And yes, I have all kinds of weird rituals. You're looking at someone that wore the same goddamn pair of socks for 3 years because I thought they were my lucky socks. And I'm traveling around all over with holes in my shoes and holes in my socks, made over $1 million in 9 months out of law school with holes in my shoes and socks because my ritual of my lucky socks. I trace calligraphies, for goodness sake. Every day I trace calligraphies for the download of the universe. I have an unwinding routine. I believe my tomorrow starts at 9 p.m. I have so many quote unquote weird rituals, but guess what? They work for me. They work through me. So I'm not saying they're going to work for you. I'm not saying to go trace calligraphies or wear the same pair of socks or whatever else weird that I do. But I only have 2 rules of doing things. One, will it harm anyone else? Will it create interference for anyone else? Now, the smelly socks may have, but I did wash them. But does it hurt anyone else? And 2, does it work for me? That's all I ask. Will it hurt someone else? Because I won't do it if it does. And does it work for me? So please utilize weird rituals. Let them work for you. We're all weirdos. I don't mean that to offend you, but 10% of the people will love that. 80% will think it's weird, but may give it a try if it doesn't hurt anyone else. And 10% are going to hate me for having the weird rituals and think I'm the biggest moron in the world. God bless you all. I pray for your happiness. Last question, Jake.
Yes, let's do it. Utilize weird rituals. Dave, I hope you're wearing those socks today.
No, dude, I got rid of that ritual. I got married.
Got it. Yeah, last up on Clubhouse, Dave, we've got Limitless Siga. Siga, welcome to the Clubhouse.
Hello, Jake, and everyone on the stage. And Dave, thank you so much for having me. Happy 2022 to everyone. So, Dave, you put at the bottom of your emails, res ipsa loquitur. I would really love you to speak on that because as we elevate, particularly myself, in 2022 and beyond to infinity plus one, as you always say, this I have been thinking deeply about, and I wanted you to speak on that and peel back for us.
I love it. So my ego, like many others, in the signature of my email got in my way. Right. I'd list out, top 10 speaker. I'd list out Variety Magazine, Sports Humanitarian of the Year, elevator pitch, 2-minute drill, office hours, best podcast in the world, greatest, most handsome husband. Everybody lists out all this shit on their signature. And I looked at it in the energy that it carried and said, hold on a second. I am healthy, happy, wealthy, and worthy. I don't need to please or impress anybody. And I recall in law school a great term, res ipsa loquitur. It's Latin. That which stands for itself. That which stands for itself. I am happy. I am healthy. I am wealthy. I am worthy. I stand for what I stand for. Let my name, David, beloved, Meltzer, servant, let my name stand for itself, and let my actions, good and bad, let my actions, honest and dishonest, manipulative and truthful, let my actions speak for themselves. Let my essence, my vibration, my frequency speak for itself. So 10% of the people will always love me. Hopefully 80% it will resonate with, and I will gladly pray for the happiness for the 10% that don't like me or hate me or have interference. I will pray for their happiness, knowing that happy people don't attack, don't have labels, which are for shampoo to attack, judgments, conditions, worry, anxiety, fear, anger, etc. Live your life in res ipsa loquitur, that which speaks for itself. As we enter this new year, utilizing New Day resolutions to determine our New Year resolutions, intermediate and long-term objectives, to make a lot of money, help a lot of people, and have a lot of fun. Most importantly, let's all be kind to our future selves in 2022 and do good deeds. I appreciate everyone. Please reach out to me for the 14-day gratitude challenge or any of these templates or any videos that I can give you. I'll even send you guys books. I don't care. It's all free. Just email me, david@dmeltzer.com. Have an extraordinary year. Enjoy the consistent, persistent pursuit of your potential. And most importantly, be happy. Empower others to be happy as well. And if you do that, I promise you, it will make me happy. I want to thank Glenn, everyone in the Breakfast of Champions. I can't wait for next year. I'll be on at 7 a.m. next year, not 6 a.m. So we'll get a little bit more of the West Coast crowd waking up. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Jake, please set the room and hand it off to our next great leader. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate you. What a great year, your New Day resolution. David@dmeltzer.com. Reach out to me.